Joining us here at Bullpit Lane, home of Hungerford Town, Chippenham manager Mike Cook. Mike, that's a bit better, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot better. Nice little Christmas present for everybody. So, really pleased with that performance.
Good stuff. We don't want to dwell on Boxing Day and what happened, but obviously now with a great chance to turn it round and go to Bath in full confidence. We discussed after it might be a tricky place to come, Hungerford. They did set out to do exactly what we thought they would do. They tried to disrupt the game, break it and sort of lose the flow of that, and it looked for the first 45 minutes like it was going to work, but a second half blitz and 3 goals, 2 for Harry, 1 for Luke. Couldn't say more, couldn't be happy with your players, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I think, to be fair to Danny, the manager for Hungerford, he's done an absolutely fantastic job with them over the last sort of couple of seasons. I don't know quite whether he's got the praise that he deserves, and you know that when you're going to come here these days, this is a tough place to come to. They're very direct, they throw a lot into the box. From set pieces and throw-ins, and you've got a man up today. You know, it isn't really about pretty football and getting the ball down. We said to him in the change room beforehand, I just thought we needed to start a little bit better than what we started on Boxing Day, and we did. And we more or less knew what they were going to do, but it's still very difficult to combat. So, but yeah, I'm pleased with that.
Little bit of a rejig for the shape as well today, Mike, with players going out. Obviously Alex is now carrying an injury. Ethan coming back in today to replace Luke. Had to go back in the midfield, didn't he? I mean, after sort of the last game, in terms of that midfield energy, we needed Rusty back in there, but Hilly's come in and done an absolute job. Kieran will either side that back four again. It's whilst experienced, it's fairly sort of young in its infancy in terms of how it's played for you over the last couple of weeks, with Spence not playing for the best part of 3-4 weeks, Hilly getting sporadic minutes, but they've come up today and they've done a real job. I don't think many people get clean sheets here.
No, and I think if you're a real supporter of Chippenham Town Football Club, and if you listen to my interviews, if we're terrible, I'll tell everybody we're terrible, but if you've got 6-7 players missing, like we did against Bath, and you've got to put square pegs in round holes, it's tough. It's really tough. So even coming today, we've bought Spencer's had an ear infection as well as doing his thigh muscle, so he hasn't played for nearly 6 weeks, I think it is. Ethan's come in and done great, fantastic young lad, a lovely little prospect for us as well. And I just thought all over the park, we went, come on then, it's toe to toe today, this is what we've got to do. And that was what was pleasing today, because there was a lot of effort. And if we do get criticised and critiqued in a negative way from certain people who are the keyboard warriors, then that's down to them. I mean, I think this group of lads and the staff that we've got, and anybody who's a true supporter knows that we give absolutely everything we possibly can do every game, so that's why it's pleasing as well today.
Well, I know keyboard warriors better than anyone. I think at times people have had a tendency to pick up and have a real pop at stuff when they're not necessarily in the know. And I don't think that we can maybe necessarily have a go at people for wanting to share their opinion. Of course, they've got one; they're entitled to one. They pay for one 9 times out of 10. But I think it's important that, as supporters, as a club, as a manager of that club, that we recognise facts over fiction. The unfortunate facts are sometimes we lose games of football. That happens all across the park. But let me lay some facts down for you, Mike. We're just about to turn into 2022. At the start of this year, if I turn around to you, I believe I did at the start of this season after a couple of half decent results, and spoke about the playoffs, and you laughed at me. I asked you again after 6, you laughed at me. I asked you again after we were unbeaten at home and unbeaten away in 3 months, and you laughed at me. We fell a little bit short over the last few weeks and sort of slipped a little bit down towards that sort of 10th and 13th position, but congratulations, you're back in the playoffs.
Yeah, great, and it's a great feeling as well. And part of my job is to keep everybody's feet on the ground as well, because it's difficult when you're rotating a squad round at times, which has got a lot of inexperience in it, and we've lost a few players as well. So for us to come here and get results like we do, I think we're doing a fantastic job. And it's not just me, it's Oski and Macca, Gary Organ and Phil Clark, the sports science guys, Phil Hockett as well, Joe Sharples, coming up with players now that we feel that we can put them in and give them a go. And like I said to the lads, now you've got to enjoy these wins as well. We've had a really good December, didn't have a great November, but we had a fantastic start to the season as well. Got knocked out of the FA Cup, 1 bad performance followed by another 2 in the league. And what I don't like is people talking about me as if let's sack him because we've lost 3 games. We are going to lose 3 games at some stage during the season, and it's difficult with the team that we've got and the resources. What we're doing at the moment is unbelievable. It really is unbelievable. and don't lose the faith. That's what I would say. So, we're going to have bad patches, but over the course of the season's a marathon. It ain't a sprint, and we're in the marathon at the moment.
Yeah, and I don't think, I often get accused myself. Chippenham's a small club, and everyone knows everyone. Certainly, everyone knows who we are from these interviews. They're broadcast all over the internet, so of course we get picked up on it. But I think it's important for our own sort of perspective to highlight, the difference in levels. You look at what we've done today. We've come away to Hungerford. We've won 3-0. The last 2 seasons, Hungerford have been on a shoestring budget at a slightly under-supported football club. Similar kind of resources that we've faced this season. In the last 2 seasons, Danny has taken his side into the playoffs, and he's been lauded as a hero. National League South Manager of the Year on a virtual voting system. And Hungerford have been recognised as a club that, although going about it maybe necessarily in a slightly dark arts way of football, have really established themselves as a real genuine contender and a surprise package in the playoffs. And I suppose, without meaning to be too much, in your pocket, it must be very frustrating to see Danny Robinson picking up these plaudits for taking Hungerford to this level, and watching Chippenham rise above them in the league today into 7th, and to have people questioning whether you're the right man to take it forward.
It's disappointing in that respect, but I think like you said, you've rightly said the plaudits for Danny as well, because he's really deserved that. But it's frustrating that like when you're rocking up to the most important game against Bath on Boxing Day, you've got 6-7 players out, and that's so frustrating for me, because you want to put on a show. It's a brilliant crowd there, and thankfully today we've turned up and we've put in another great performance, and I just think we deserve a pat on the back. That's not me, that's the players and the coaching staff who put in unbelievable hours. We've got Joe Sharples picking up Carl Cook, the reserve goalkeeper, from the airport today. He's got to get up at 7 o'clock. He don't want to be doing things like that. He's got Christmas and the kids to sort out. So there's all these little things that are going. We've got Ola, the club have turned around today and got him a pair of boots because he never had enough money for a pair of boots. So these are the sort of things that we're battling against, and people need to realise this. And it's a tough place to be the manager if every 3 games that we lose that we're talking about giving in the sack. And I totally disagree with it. And from my point of view, it's a marathon. We're in that marathon. We're doing really well. Let's enjoy it, but let's not get carried away as well.
I say, the pat on the back, I suppose, comes from those true supporters. We have alluded to them, and obviously it's sometimes a bit of a negative stance when we do read these kind of comments on the wider web, and seeing things that are sort of maybe unfavourable. But a massive crowd turnout today. I think 764 people at Hungerford. Now, obviously, a lot of those are going to be home supporters, but looking around the ground, certainly from the back ends, we filled a stand up around the back there. We had people up and down the side, still in the bar. We must have taken a good 140, 150 from Chippenham today, and whilst it's not the longest trip away, 150 supporters away at this level of football is, I suppose, real vindication to the work we're doing.
Yeah, it's brilliant, and I'm not having a go at those sort of people, because they see us week in, week out, and I think we've only lost 1 away, haven't we?
Maidstone,
all this
the only game we've lost all season.
Yeah, Maidstone, which was dubious decision that day as well from the referee, but I've got to say, all those supporters that come along, they know what we're all about, and they know what we're trying, and there's times that we're going 1-0 down and we're fighting back and we're getting back into the game, and if we had the budgets that are in our league with those top 6 or 7, you could say, well, we'd do unbelievable to get a playoff place, but we're in there. We're fighting, and we're going to try and stay in there as long as we can.
It's fantastic, and I mean, from my perspective as a supporter that tends to go home and away and sees you week in, week out, it's great to see the fight in the lads. It's great to see the fight in you, and those sort of scenes at the end there when people are coming over and clapping and shaking hands and hugging and all those bits. That's what football's about. 3 goals to celebrate today. First reaction, the instant reaction of all 3 players that put the ball in the back of the net to dive into the crowd. It really shows that when that happens, it's not just a team on the pitch of 11 men. It's a club that's beyond what we're looking at doing, and it must be fantastic for yourself to watch that.
Yeah, it is. It's great, and that's why we all do it, isn't it? We love the big games. You want to win those big games, but we're not always going to do that. And for me, that as long as we show enough determination and that little bit of guile, it's lovely to see Harry Parsons stick those 2 goals away today, and the way that Ricky's joined in, and the pitch is not conducive to playing football on it. We all know that, and it's a tough place to come. So to get those 3 goals scored in that manner from open play as well, I think it was not so long ago, it was probably about 6-7 games ago, I don't think we hardly scored a goal from open play, and now I think we're looking at about 12, 13, 14 goals that we've scored. So that's a credit to the coaching staff and recognising what we're good at and what we're not good at. And we're the first people to criticise ourselves when it doesn't quite go right, but we just ask people to be a bit patient when things don't quite go well. Just keep the belief, keep your trust in the manager and the players and the board, because there's a lot of brilliant supporters at this club, and we just don't want a couple of little ones who just think I can put that little bit of poison in and just do this, that and the other, because that's not right. It's not what we're about.
Well, for today, Mike, you couldn't have responded better. You go down 4-1 on Boxing Day, you come back, you bounce back, you beat another local rival, although maybe not quite the same pomp and circumstance due to the size of the clubs, but Hungerford, no less a local rival. We've come here today, we've beaten them 3-0, and now obviously we head into the Bath City game at Twerton Park, another difficult game on the road, and I'm sure that even with the win today and heads being picked up slightly from that, it's not going to change the facts that Bath are going to be a tricky opposition on a big pitch at Twerton Park. We've not found it a happy hunting ground sometimes. Tend to score goals there, but so do they. But I suppose for your perspective, Mike, you've done absolutely everything you can to rectify the fact that we have gone down 4-1, but supporters have come out today, they've been treated to a 3-0 win, and all signs point well for Bath.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that, and note as well that Hungerford didn't have a game on Boxing Day and then played us, so they're all fresh. We've beat them after that. It's again,
Bath have got to sit down today, haven't they?
Yeah, it's like, and Bath have had to sit down. We've seen Jerry in the stand watching us today, so they've had a lovely little rest. And you've got to calculate all those sort of things, and that's why we rotate players around doing different positions. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but I'm pleased today that it's worked.
Good stuff. Well, Mike, let you crack on with your post-match celebrations. Go and get yourself a beer, mate. You've certainly earned one, and obviously we'll see you on Sunday against Bath, where hopefully we can right another wrong and maybe put one over on them as well.
Yeah, you're right.
Top man. Cheers, Mike. Well done.
Thanks, mate.
Hey.